Hello and welcome to the Music Production Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Funk. Today's show is going to be about writing effective emails. I'm a music producer, Ableton certified trainer, and I'm also a high school English teacher, so I have a few thoughts on this that I'd like to share with you. Before we get started, I want to let you know that members of my music production club will get access to a template I created, complete with some comments on the side that will explain why each paragraph and each sentence is written the way it is written. And there's also a slideshow I put together on writing effective emails that talks about parts of emails and things you should remember and include in your messages. It's just one of the many benefits of being a member of the Music Production Club. If you want to check that out, head over to brianfunk.com/MPC. Like it or not, if you're a musician or a producer, emailing is going to be a big part of your life. You probably receive tons of emails, and you're going to have to write a lot of emails. I think especially in today's world where we have less and less face-to-face interaction, it's more important than ever to know how to send emails in an effective way. I deal with a lot of emails on my everyday life. I get them through my music work, and I get them as my work as an English teacher. And I've seen all kinds of emails, from really effective ones that make me want to respond and interact to ones that are just mind-bogglingly ineffective, we'll say, to put it nicely. I've gotten emails from people, yo, listen to my track. I've gotten emails at teaching that will say things like, why is my grade so low? No signature, everything written in the subject, really poor grammar. And I don't want you to be the person sending those emails, because more than likely you're going to get disregarded. And as a musician, it's going to be really important that you represent yourself in a good way so that people want to work with you. It's very likely you're going to be asking people for favors and help to further your career, so you want to make sure that you're sending them in a way that will get results. And I want to say, to begin, that you're probably going to get a pretty low response rate on cold emails when you just send them out to people. And that's just the fact of the matter. Deal with it and understand that's how it's going to be. But we can increase our odds. I'll start with a few general guidelines, and then I'll get a little more specific later on. I'll take you through the fictional email template I wrote that's trying to get a fictional podcaster to appear on my podcast. The number one thing I think you need to think about when sending emails is make them personalized. Nobody wants to receive emails that feel like they were sent to millions of people. And in fact, those just get deleted. When I'm checking my emails, I have a lot of email to do, and it's not really the kind of work I want to be doing. I want to be doing music, or I want to be doing something more productive. I'm looking for reasons to delete emails. So when I see things that don't interest me or seem like they're forms that are sent out to lots of people, like for instance, I might get stuff for the podcast about people that want to be on the show or want something from me because I have a podcast. And a lot of times it'll be like, Dear Podcaster, or once in a while they might get my name right, Dear Brian, and then the rest of it is just a total form letter. And when you look at it, it doesn't even relate to the topic I'm discussing on the show. Delete. I don't have to deal with that. I'm looking for reasons to not deal with it. If it looks like I'm getting an email that's been sent to hundreds of people to listen to my track, tell me what you think, probably going to delete it. But when it's an email that seems more personalized, like it's to me specifically, the odds of me reading that are tremendously higher, and I feel almost an obligation to read it. Here's a person that took the time to write to me specifically about something, so I'm going to take a look at it. If you take one thing away from this podcast, make those emails personalized. Spend the time to write one email to a person very specifically about their work, about who they are, rather than sending out like 100 blanket emails. I think you'll get much better responses and you'll get more genuine interactions. So be specific, talk to them, reference their work, and let them know that this email was meant for them. Now, you're probably going to be sending emails in a professional setting. You want people to take you seriously. right? This is their work. This is their job. This is what their reputation is based off of. So if they're going to be helping you, they want to be helping somebody that's going to make them look good too. So use serious formal language. Keep the tone at a formal level. That'll make you seem more serious. If you establish friendly rapport with a person over time, then you can loosen it up a little bit as appropriate. But especially on your initial contact, you need to use proper grammar, good vocabulary, and sound like somebody that takes themselves seriously. Make sure your email and display name are appropriate. So you don't want to have emails like Cutie Pie 22 or Call of Duty Killing Dude 666. These are just things, little clues people are going to see that might make them not take you so seriously. Have an email that represents your artist name or your real name. Keep it simple, nothing fancy. Keep your emails short and to the point because nobody wants to read more than they have to. They want to look at your email, find out what's going on, get the information they need, and know how to respond and get it done with. When I get long emails, especially when they're personalized, I get the feeling like I need to devote a little time to it. So if I'm just trying to check through my emails kind of quickly, there's a good chance that letter is going to get marked as unread or put in a folder to deal with later when I have more time to actually spend with it. That doesn't mean there's no call for longer emails, but especially on an initial contact, this is going to decrease the likelihood of a person getting back to you. I know myself, I have good intentions sometimes of getting back to these long emails, but I put them aside and sort of forget about them for a while. The shorter ones tend to get responded to quicker. I think then after a couple exchanges maybe of shorter emails, if something longer needs to be said, that's fine, go ahead. But I don't really think email is the format for these kinds of long discussions. It's not the type of thing people are intending to do when they sit down to check their emails. They're trying to go through them quickly. So try to keep it as short as possible if you can. And that means making your requests very clear. Let them know what you want from them. That's important. They shouldn't have to figure it out. It shouldn't be a mystery. I often get emails where I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do with. And that usually creates confusion. Sometimes it means I have to send another email back and there's an extra back and forth that isn't necessary. And sometimes it means I don't even respond because I don't think there's anything I need to do. You don't want that to happen to you. So be very clear about what it is you want from people. It's also a good idea to think about human psychology in general. People want to feel noticed. They want to be respected and appreciated and recognized for their work. So it can be very effective to take a little time to be appreciative of them. Let them know that what they're doing matters to you. That's going to increase the odds of them responding because you are now a fan. You're someone that they've made happy in the past, and they probably don't want to let you down now. They want to keep you as a fan. So take a little time to be thankful and appreciative, but don't use flattery either. You don't want to go overboard with this. Be nice, be kind, but again, we're trying to keep this short, so get to the point. Make sure you're letting people know who you are. That's really important. We want to know who's talking to us. So give a little greeting saying who you are, but also sign your emails too. That's an important thing. People want to know who they are speaking to. Okay, so let's get a little more specific. To start, you need to have a subject line. Give a clear, honest subject line. Don't try to be clickbaity about it. Don't try to fool them into reading your email. There's nothing worse than that feeling of feeling like you got tricked into opening something. This is not the first impression you want. Be honest. If you're trying to get them to listen to your new ambient music set to footage of sea creatures, put in the subject, ambient music set to footage of sea creatures. If I'm trying to get a character named Jane from the Writing Right podcast on my podcast, my subject line will be something like Jane of Writing Right on the Music Production Podcast. Really clear, really honest, and it lets them know what they're getting into right away. The next thing you need is some kind of greeting. Just use their name. Hello, Jane. Hello, whoever. If you have their permission to use their first name, great. If not, be formal, Mr., Mrs., Miss, whatever, doctor, whatever you need to do. Make it quick, but let them know that they are the person you are reaching out to. This is their first clue that this is a personalized email and it's not just some spam. But this can't be your only indication that this is personalized, because so many email softwares allow you to just insert name in the beginning of an email. You probably get plenty of these that have your name, dear whoever you are, and then it's just, whatever marketing info it is. You want to put their name, but that can't be the only thing there. The next thing you're going to want to do is some kind of greeting where you introduce yourself. Tell them who you are. This, again, is another clue that this is personalized, and it lets them know who they're speaking to. Don't go on forever about this. Just tell them a couple things about yourself. And choose things that are relevant to who you are and who they are. So like, for instance, I've got this like make-believe idea of an email where I'm trying to get Jane from the Writing Right podcast on my podcast. So I'm probably not going to tell her that I am an Ableton certified trainer, a sound designer, that I make packs. I don't think that'll be something she might even understand. So I'm going to say I'm a music producer, I'm a high school English teacher, because that's related to writing, and that I host a music production podcast. All of this stuff is relevant to her. Now, the next thing I would do in this paragraph, where I'm introducing myself, is just say how I'm related to this person. So I might say that I've been listening to your podcast for years. I never miss an episode. And that's it. New paragraph. So in this next paragraph, I want to give a little bit of thanks. I want to let them know that I appreciate their work. And I'm also showing them that this is a personalized email. It's not just some form thing. So I'm going to tell Jane that I loved her episode on effective email correspondence. That's why I'm writing. It's important that musicians know how to send emails, and now that we're in our pandemic world, this is more important than ever. And I might say that this podcast helped me compose my own emails. So I'm going to be really specific about what it is about her work that I appreciate and why I'm reaching out, what inspired me to reach out here. And this should be related to my request that I'm going to make. So thank them for something they've done. If it's a music blogger, again, we mentioned ambient music set to sea creatures, write that. I learned about some great new artists. Thanks so much for that post. It's really given me a lot of cool new music to listen to. Don't flatter them. Overdoing it is only going to make that person feel a little uncomfortable, and it might make you seem like you're being insincere. So pick something about their work specific that you can compliment them on and thank them for, and make sure it's related to what you're going to ask them. And this will be the next paragraph, our request. So in this paragraph, we need to get to the point. Why are you writing? And tell them, I'm writing because. That's really clear for them. Again, people will be looking at your emails quickly. They might even skim them. So you want to make this really easy to understand. Ask what you want of them. Make it really clear. They can't be unsure of what you want. So that first sentence of this paragraph should be super clear. Tell them what you want. I'm writing to ask if you would like to have a conversation with me about emailing for the music production podcast. There we go. Now, I might also just throw in how I think this will help, how I think you have important insights that will help me and my fellow producers compose emails, and that can enhance their careers. And then maybe throw in a little something about how it might help them too. This will be a nice opportunity for me to introduce my audience to your work. Now, I would just remind you, you are the one asking for the favor here. So don't make it feel like you're trying to sell them something. Don't overdo it. Just say how this might help them. The odds are they'll probably understand that, but it's not a bad idea to just throw it in there. But don't belabor the point, because then you're going to sound like you're just trying to sell them. You're trying to trick them again. The next thing I would make sure I do is give them any sort of information that they need. Don't make it their job to research you, to research your music. Give them the stuff they need to do right there in the email. So I would supply my link to my podcast. I would also give them some information about being. I have a website that I send people to that tells them what it's like to be on the podcast. It also has a calendar of dates and times that are available. So this takes a lot of the burden off of them. They don't have to go find this stuff out. It also makes it so they don't have to send me another email saying, oh yeah, that sounds great. Tell me more about the show. It's all there for them. So then they can respond with an answer. and there's not as much back and forth. The more back and forth you get, the more likely you're not going to get what you want. So let's make this easy for them. Make it easy for them to help you. So if you're putting out a song, if you're putting out music, maybe you want a blogger to post it, have a link that tells them about the song. Kind of write the article for them a little bit. Tell them about the music, how you sampled the sounds of a goat in the backyard, and whatever it is that's interesting about your track, so that they know what to write. They know that, like, if they're going to post about your track, it's going to be easy for them. They're going to be able to get their job done faster. You're helping them do their work. So even though you are like asking for help, it might not be a bad idea to just think about this as how you can help them. How can you help them help you? Make it easy for them to write about you. For the next paragraph, I might just say something like, I hope you're interested. It'd be great to have you on the show. But I'd also let them know that they don't have to be on the show. There's no obligation. I'm not going to stop listening to your podcast if you don't come on my show. So I might say something like, no pressure. I know your time is valuable, but it would be lovely to have you on the show. Something simple. It gives them an understanding that you are appreciative and you'd be really happy to have them on or to be featured on their blog. But of course, you're not going to hate them forever, and you respect their time and their work. That's an important thing. I think that shows a consideration. And when I get things like that, it makes me more likely to want to help them because they're being cool about it. I know that I'm under no obligation to do this. And then I might just end with one more sentence. Thank you for your time and your consideration and your work. So I'm not just thanking them for their help or for reading my email, but I'm also thanking them again for what they do, because that's an important thing. And it also reiterates that I'm a fan and I like what you do. The last thing I would have in my email is a closing with my name and any contacts, my email address. Even though I just emailed them, sometimes, why make them do the homework? Put it there. I might put my website. I might even put my phone number at the bottom. I want to make it easy for them to find me. If it's not easy for them to find me, they might not do what I want them to do. They might have follow-up questions. They might want to check out your website to see what other work you have. Maybe they're excited about what you do. If they can't find that stuff, that's a chance that they might not help you. So you want to make sure you make it easy for them. And that would be the email. I would try to keep this as short as possible while hitting on some of those things. We want to introduce ourselves. We want to be specific about their work and thank them. Let them know that this email is personalized. We want to make our requests. We want to give any information possible, and we want to thank them. And then be done with it. Don't ramble on too much. I have a copy of this sample email that is available to the members of the Music Production Club. If you want to check that out, it's got the comments on the side that lets you know why I wrote each paragraph the way I did. And you can use it kind of like a template. Again, I wouldn't just delete my name and put their name and whatever, but use it as a structural template where you're going to introduce yourself. You're going to thank them and recognize their work. You're going to make your request. You're going to supply information, and you're going to thank them again. And that's the end of the email. So a couple other things, and these are important. Grammar and spelling. You got to get your grammar and spelling right. Make sure you put paragraphs where they need to be. Make sure you use punctuation. Grammar is like road signs or signs on the road. It's like red lights and stop signs. It helps readers understand what to do. Your whole point in sending an email is to communicate something. Your grammar and spelling is going to make that communication clear. So you have to get it right. Break up your ideas into separate paragraphs. This is my number one pet peeve with my students at high school, when they send in an assignment and it's just a brick of words. There's no indication of like one idea is started and another is ended, because paragraphs tell us that. When we read, we look for paragraphs. We see a little chunk of writing and we know that that is one related idea, one idea per paragraph. Then when that paragraph ends, a new idea begins. This is a subconscious clue to the reader, and it helps them digest what you're saying and understand we're moving on to something else. So make your email broken up into paragraphs. And I would even suggest be Paragraph happy. Go on the side of caution and use more paragraphs than fewer. Big bricks of writing give people anxiety. They don't want to read it. It looks intimidating. It looks like, oh my God, there's so much here. Little paragraphs are nice and easy, small bites to digest. This is why we take food in bites. You don't shove the whole hamburger in your mouth at once because you'll choke on it. It's too much to process. But if you take little bites, you can enjoy it, you can appreciate it, you can understand what's going on with it. Spelling, all that stuff, punctuation. Be really careful with that. If it's an important email, have someone proofread it. Run it through Grammarly. Do spell check. Be careful about it. That stuff shows that you took the time to write a nice email. If it's sloppy, if there's no capitalization, no paragraphs, no punctuation, it doesn't look like you took a lot of time. It doesn't look like you put care into it. It doesn't look like it's important to you. It'd be like showing up to a job interview in your pajamas. You're not going to get hired. Even if you're totally qualified, you might have the most amazing song, ambient music about sea creatures, but it's just not going to even get heard. You're not even going to be let into the job on day one. So present yourself nicely. Put on that nice suit for the interview. Use good grammar and punctuation. Make sure you proofread it. You can't unsend emails. Once you hit send, they're out there. Might not be a bad idea to send a preview to yourself. Just to have a look at what it looks like when you receive it. That can really help you understand what they're going to see. So make sure it looks nice. Double check it. If you are including any attachments, make sure those are included and those are useful. Again, if you're sending your song out to a blogger, it might be nice to send a picture as well. Might be nice to send a little PDF file about the track. Even though you might also be sending them to a website, again, just cover your bases. Make it easy for them to do the work. Make sure you have any relevant information that might be useful. And then, suppose after all of this, you're lucky enough to get a response and it's a denial. Be nice about it. Be graceful. Even though this might not have worked out right here, right now, there's still chance for future opportunities. But not if you're going to be mean or be a jerk or be resentful. Then people won't work with you no matter what you do. Be nice. Be gracious. You're still a fan. You're still a supporter. Leave the door open for the future. I would also maybe recommend, if you are going to email bloggers specifically, or anyone that has some sort of social media presence for your work, try to start getting involved in their community even beforehand. So comment on posts, respond to social media posts, leave a comment on a photo or share a helpful link on Twitter or something like that. That will just help further the conversation, and not just self-promotion things. Maybe for this ambient music thing, maybe you have a song by one of your favorite artists that wasn't on the list that you can suggest. Send them the YouTube link or something like that. It's not self-promotion here. It's just to get you on the radar a little bit and to show that you are actually somebody that's participating in their community. And that's probably what these people are building and working on, is their community. So they're going to value you. And then when they see you in the email, they might be more likely to respond and to make your request. So be graceful about that. Another type of email I thought I might just mention is like your own email that is for, say, like self-promotion. So say you have an email list for your fans, for your music or whatever it is. This is something you really need to treat very carefully. Email is still the most effective way to reach people. Trust me, I can post things on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, but nothing gets the interaction like email. Email is much more direct. It's to that person. It goes in their inbox, whereas a lot of the social media stuff just kind of gets scrolled past. So you got to really treat this important and precious. Don't ruin it. So a few things. Don't cheat. Don't get emails that weren't specifically given to you. So in my case, I collect all my emails through pack downloads. That's really the only way I get people's emails is when they download some of my Ableton Live stuff. So that's the only way you're getting on my list. And therefore, I keep most of those emails relevant to my work with music because that's what they're interested in. And because of that, I get very few like unsubscribes. I get very few like angry emails saying, well, stop emailing me. They come in and once in a while, but I really try to treat this like a precious thing. I'm not just grabbing emails wherever I can. I'm not spamming people. I try not to over email, try to keep it important, maybe put a couple small things in the email and that's it. But you don't want to be that annoying person that shows up every single day in the email. You'll just start getting deleted or unsubscribed. And then you've kind of wasted your time building your email list. Never sell your email list. That's a big no-no. Nobody wants to feel deceived like that. Even if they love your work, they might stop following you. They might stop being on your email list and they might find someone else to fill that gap in their life. So don't do that. Send yourself a preview email. You're probably sending this email to a lot of people. So there's nothing worse than sending out an email and realizing you have to send out another email to make some sort of correction or fix the link you forgot. That's embarrassing and it reduces people's confidence in your emails. So always send yourself a proof email, preview that, double check it, proofread it, check your links, make sure all the information that you said is in there is in fact in there, and make it good to go. Email is going to be really important in your life as a music producer. You're going to be reaching out to people, and you should get comfortable with it. Even though a lot of us artists are kind of like against the whole self-promotion thing and feel kind of icky about reaching out to people, if you do it in a respectful way, it can be very beneficial for both parties. Again, when you email people for requests, whether it's to get your songs on things or get people on your podcast, make it easy for them to say yes. Make it so that think about how you can help them. How can you make things better for them? That's really important. And I try to do that with my own podcast guests. I want them to leave my show being like, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I was on that show. I got to reach a new audience. I got to speak about the stuff that I'm promoting or my new work, or I got to have an interesting conversation at least. It's really important. It shouldn't just be for you. You're not just taking here. You want to give. You want to grow the community. And if you become a kind of person that is known for that, you're going to attract people and you will be the one getting the requests and the emails. So I hope this is helpful to you. I think it's a really important thing. I know from my own experience, I really do get turned off by poorly written emails or impersonal emails. It's a waste of my time, and time is precious to us all. It's an unrenewable resource. And if I'm putting my time and attention into emails and it's just garbage, that's part of my life I'll never get back. And you don't want to do that to people. Be respectful of them. Treat them well. Give them care and courtesy. Write them personalized emails that have been proofread and carefully composed. I hope that helps. If you want to get access to this slideshow I put together and also the sample email, join the Music Production Club. It's only $6 a month. There's lots of fun stuff that you get. You get new downloads for your Ableton Live projects, what Bob Ross teaches us about music production book that I wrote. There's a community of people on Discord. We have a samples folder now where you can use these samples on your own tracks, all kinds of weird sounds. And in December, I just released the arrangement templates, which are MIDI clips you can drop inside of your Ableton Live projects and see how famous songs are structured. So you can see like how long the verse is to, say, a famous Beatles song or a Neil Young song or whoever. There is a growing list of MIDI arrangement templates that I have here. I'm just adding them as I hear songs I like. I map them out and put them in the folder. So that'll be a continually growing thing. And I think it can help you turn your 8-bar loops into full finished ideas because you have some sort of guide to follow. Anyway, that's the Music Production Club, brianfunk.com/MPC. I thank you so much for listening to the show. It really does mean a lot to me to have your time here. I hope that it's helpful and interesting. And if it is, I would love it if you would leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. That helps the podcast, I guess, show up on search engines and within the podcast providers so that more and more people will get to hear it. I was super psyched early in December here. People are releasing their Spotify stats. So you get that like thing Spotify sends you that tells you like how many people listen to your music and what music you've been listening to. And a couple people sent out screenshots that the Music Production Podcast was one of their top 5 podcasts of the year. That is so cool to me. And I love it. It's inspiring and it's really just, I don't even know. It's awesome. So thanks so much for that. And thank you for listening. Have yourselves a great day and best of luck with your emails and your music career. Take care.